Welcome to the Monday Method. I'm your host, Liz Mayer, life, career, and business coach, and I am obsessed with helping you create the life you love so you stop living for the weekends and start loving your Mondays. This show is dedicated to you women who do it all, from building careers to building families to becoming the version of yourself you love. This show provides you with the tools to get you off the hamster wheel of burnout so you can give what matters in your life the best of you, not the rest of you. Are you ready to create a life so good you look forward to Mondays? Then let's go. Well, hello, my friend. Hey, I hope you are having a wonderful day as you listen to me talk at you. Because today I am going to talk about a specific topic for women exclusively that we treat as a curse and actually should be treating as a compass. Yes, my friend, I am talking about your cycle. Okay? Yes, your cycle, your menstrual cycle. Yes, it's here. We're going to talk about it. There is no cringe. We're all adults. So, have you ever felt that some days you're ready to tackle a big challenge and you're like, come and get me? While other days, even the smallest tasks feel like they're literally draining your blood? Well, of course, of course, you're nodding to this question because you're a lady. You have lady parts, and it's your biology. So, if you listen to the last episode of the Monday Method, I was talking about the cycles of emotional changes and how to master those. But you are a woman with a physical body, and that means dealing with hormone fluctuations. And yes, those hormone fluctuations impact your energy. So, as women, our energy, our moods, our focus naturally shift throughout our menstrual cycle, which is usually 28 days. And the reason that I want to talk about this in a show that's focused on bringing you whole life success is because when you think about a 28-day menstrual cycle in comparison to how our workplaces are designed, which is usually around a 24-hour structure, there can be some disparity, right? So 24-hour structures assume consistent energy, okay? 24-hour structures assume productivity every day is largely the same. 24-hour structures are actually based on a masculine biology. And that whole like hustle hard mentality that really truly only might feel relevant to you part of the time, right? Because as a woman, your cycle is changing literally every day. Your energy, your hormones, your fluctuations, all of it is changing literally every day. And it's important for us to address because while this topic isn't something that I expect to be shared at most corporate workplaces, it's worth you acknowledging and it's worth you really thinking about because oftentimes you might feel drained, you might feel unable to focus, and you might feel not as productive. And when you feel that way, you actually can get this immense sense of guilt, right? Like, oh, I am so tired, I'm drained, I can't focus. And maybe just a day prior, or maybe a week prior, you had a ton of energy and you were kicking ass and you were taking names. And now here you are, for whatever reason, largely, I would say your cycle, you're not in that space. And so it's easy for you to beat yourself up about that. And I want you to really focus on taking your power back, right? By understanding how biologically your body's changing and recognizing that there's nothing wrong with you. And it's actually within your power to use your cycle as a compass and honor those natural cycles so you can plan accordingly. And so you can ultimately optimize your productivity and prevent burnout, right? I wish that back in, I don't know, 1992, when I was going through my hormonal changes, that somebody gave me a guide on how to manage my cycles, right? I've really only learned this concept over the past few years. And as I've leaned into really understanding my cycles and what's right and what's maybe not right in terms of the things I should be doing and the things I shouldn't be doing, it's actually been game changing. And my two girls are going to really learn this and leverage this as they start to grow, because it's actually amazing to be able to talk about your body and those fluctuations as really something that can promote your alignment versus talking about our bodies and something that is very natural and normal, like your period, as something to be embarrassed about or ashamed of because, you don't feel like running 400 marathons a day, right? Or you don't have that same energy. So, in my life, I've actually started to plan to the extent that I can and intentionally decide to do certain activities and to an extent avoid others so that I can align to what my body needs and still be productive. And if I can do it, you can do it. So I'm going to just give you a quick review of the phases of your cycle and what it means to your energy and the type of work that will resonate with you so you can be in your flow. And obviously, I know there's some of you who are saying, yeah, Liz, that's nice, but I can't control everything. And yeah, no dip. None of us can control everything. But the more that you are aware of when your cycle is happening and when things are going to be happening, the more you can also plan around it and proactively manage how you're going to feel and take advantage of those times where certain activities are better than others. Okay, so let's get into it. So, the first phase is the follicular phase, and this is immediately post period and right before you're going to ovulate. Okay, at this time, your energy is sky high. So you are feeling creative. You are actually ready for new ideas. You're excited to get started. You're feeling, pretty much on your A game in terms of just having some solid, stellar, focus. And this is a great time for tasks that require you to really kind of get into that kickoff mode. So, for work or even just for special projects that you have, around your home or personally, it's a great time to schedule brainstorming sessions. It's a great time for strategy meetings. Maybe also if there's specific like problem solving tasks that you want to get into that require you to get more creative, this is your prime time for tackling that planning phase, right? Tackling how you're going to go about getting in to those ambitious goals of yours. And it's also the best time to kick off a new project. I'm actually giggling to myself as I'm reading this and like sharing this with you because in behind me, if you're watching this on my YouTube or you're watching this on video, you will see a ginormous calendar. And I got one of those big ass wall calendars behind me that actually have every single month planned. It has my goals, it has my personal stuff, it has when I'm taking vacations, it has key projects. And this is the perfect time during that follicular phase for me to get into that calendar and do some of those planning activities that I want to do. So, this is the time where if you want to start something new, maybe you want to start a new workout routine, or maybe you want to start, I don't know, any new program. The follicular phase is when you're in that beginner energy. After the follicular phase is your ovulation phase. And this is mid cycle. This is when you're literally ovulating. And I've actually even referred to this phase in one of Kate Northrup's books. I think her book is called Do Less. She refers to this phase as egg wisdom, which I think is actually like really adorable. But at this point, your energy is the strongest. You have really just peak energy and confidence, even and also, communication skills are fire at this time. Um, I believe that in the book Do Less, which I highly recommend by Kate Northrup, where she talks about egg wisdom, there's also this strong intuition that you can tap into during your ovulation phase. You just might feel not only more connected to your body, but more connected and open to the energy of others. So, from a task perspective, this is a great time to focus on networking, focus on presentations, focus on tasks that are collaborative or persuasive in nature. This is really your time to shine in meetings. Maybe if there's a new idea you want to pitch, um, this would be a good time. If you have some negotiating to do, maybe you're negotiating your raise. Maybe it's also a time where you tackle a difficult conversation. Maybe this is a time where, since you do have peak energy and you're feeling strong, maybe you try something new, right? Maybe that's when you wear the new outfit. Maybe it's when you experiment with something. I think the key thing to this ovulation phase is your energy is strong, you're wanting to be around people, and it's really a great time for you to make sure you're seen. The third phase is the luteal phase, and this is post ovulation. And this is actually, I believe, it can be up to 10 days. So, this is a longer phase. And where your ovulation phase, your energy is the strongest, and your follicular phase, your energy is solid. Think of your luteal phase is where your energy really starts to fade. So, this is towards the end of your luteal phase, right around the time where you're going to start feeling those PMS symptoms. And your energy is really starting to slow down. And it might not even be that maybe your physical energy slows down, but your mental energy also slows down. And I like to think about the tail end of my luteal phase to be the F around and find out phase. I'm usually pretty impatient. And I'm usually pretty impatient in general, but around the luteal phase is when I really have no tolerance for things that are just hanging. I have this intense desire to wrap things up, which is really, really crazy if you think about it, because um, this is usually the time for me where I want to tie up loose ends. I want to bring closure to things. If there's things that have been on my to do list that I keep putting off, this is where I'm like, get it freaking done. I also like to think about this phase, and I've seen this actually on social media where it's like, I'm most likely to want to pick up the house, want to organize. Um, and it's like, I might even be prone to anger cleaning. Have you ever had anger cleaning? Yeah, it's actually quite cathartic, but if I'm gonna scrub something, if I'm gonna vacuum and get my frustrations out, if I'm gonna wanna organize something, it's gonna be in the luteal phase. And the tasks within luteal phase that are important for you, or you might find prime time, is to do that wrapping up of projects. It's a great time to organize. Um, It's also maybe a great time if you like details to really get in and refine the details. Your follicular phase is all about like the planning and the brainstorming of the new idea. The ovulation phase might be selling that new idea, but the luteal phase is really finessing it, getting into the details, getting into ensuring that you're really completing what you started maybe earlier in the cycle, or things that you just really want to have progress made in. And all of that ultimately leads to surprise, surprise, your menstrual phase. Yeah, so your menstrual phase, which is obviously the last. Now, I obviously did a nice little vocal warm up talking about the menstrual phase, but I believe the menstrual phase deserves a vocal warm up and some positive audio um, emotions because I mean, let's face it, anytime we're on our period, we like really do usually like treat the period as like a visitor that we do not want to be here, right? So obviously your menstrual phase is when your energy might be at its lowest, maybe not the entire time, but definitely the first few days. And when I think about the menstrual phase, I think about this time as being a great one to be more reflective, take time for yourself and restore. Maybe look back and do some evaluating. Maybe you look through your calendars, you look through the work you've done. Maybe you do some celebrating and giving yourself some freaking credit, not just evaluating and criticizing, but really looking at patterns. This might be a good time for you to look at just different themes, whether those are data driven themes in your business or in your career or on a goal you're trying to make, or even just what you've experienced over the last couple of weeks. What is working? What is not working? Really taking that time to contemplate. And, because at this time you are usually a little more tired, this is a great time for you to really focus on the tasks that don't require a ton of energy. It's about prioritizing some rest. Um, Maybe it's prioritizing even activities that um, enable you to take things in, right? Maybe you're reading your articles, within your trade, and you're working on your expertise, right? Maybe you're reviewing, your numbers from the month. But this is a great time to kind of dig in and evaluate, and also schedule downtime intentionally. And the reason why I think this is important is because when your hormones are changing, sometimes we as really busy women don't give ourselves the luxury of really taking breaks. And I think if you can take that time to say, hey, this is the week where maybe I don't go as hard in back to back meetings. This is the week that maybe if I do have a long day, I try to avoid a longer day in the evening for that quote unquote, I know, cue eye roll second shift, right? Where you're running around your kids like crazy. What are there ways where you can actually get more support or maybe slow things down? So, those are the 4 phases. I know that you probably know all of these, but I thought that it would be really, really critical for you as a busy, ambitious woman to understand how the energy and the tasks can be aligned to really create a magical little compass for you. And listen, I know it's not always possible to control every aspect of your day, of your week, of your time, right? I get it. But simply being aware of your cycle can help you make small adjustments and shift tasks accordingly. And I'm going to give you an example of this. I have a client, and I've been working with her for a while, and she always describes the first day of her cycle as like having a barbell for a tongue. Like she finds it hard to literally find words. And that makes sense, right? This is her phase where her energy is the lowest. She should probably be doing more like internalizing than verbalizing. And if this happens, right, to you, and you have to present, this is the time for you to give yourself some grace, use a script, and actually, maybe if you have enough time to know that you're going to need to present and this is going to happen, take advantage of your ovulatory phase or that follicular phase to brainstorm or to think about ways that you want to persuade and get your message across, right? Or maybe you just have better notes than you're used to, or maybe you take some time to practice, right? So this isn't about using your period as a way to say, I don't feel like doing that today, but by all means you can. It's about really amplifying where you are, accepting your energy, and creating harmony with your flow. So I would love if you start flowing with your flow. I would love for you to honor your natural energy cycles. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts and experiences on this approach. Is this new to you? Is this something that you're doing actively? And also, if you are the mother of young girls, how are you going to help them think about their bodies and their cycles as a compass and not a curse? Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Liz, and please go forth and create a life where you look forward to Mondays. Bye, friend. Well, hey, friend. Thank you for spending time with me. As a thank you for spending your very limited, precious time, I want to offer you access to a free masterclass on how to create personal and professional success without burnout. You can access the link in the show notes or head over to lizmayercoaching.com and click on the link to access this free masterclass. Thanks again for spending time with me, and I cannot wait for you to love your Mondays. See you, friend.